Question 2, it says Tessa owns a small clothes shop in a seaside town. She records the weekly sales figures, W pounds, and the average weekly temperature, T degrees Celsius, for 8 weeks during the summer. The product moment correlation coefficient for these data is minus 0.915. Stating hypotheses clearly and using a 5% level of significance, test whether or not the correlation between the sales figures and average weekly temperature is negative. So part A, going to state the null hypothesis, which is rho equals 0. We always test for no correlation first. And let's define in words what rho is, where rho is the correlation coefficient of the population. So whether or not that was worth a mark, that sentence there, it's still the right thing to do to define what rho is. H1, we're testing for negative correlation, it said, so rho is less than 0. Now what we're going to do is consult the table of numbers. So the key numbers that we're going to look for in the table of numbers and the table of statistics is the 5% significance level, and that's our correlation coefficient that we found. So here's the relevant page here, and here's the relevant table of numbers. So we're looking at the 5% significance level, so it's one tail test. So 5% significance level, so this is the column here that we're looking at. And the sample size, I forget what the sample size was, so let's go back. The sample size was 8 weeks, average weekly temperature for 8 weeks. So let's go back. So the sample size was 8, so I can see that the number here is 0.6215. So we're testing for negative correlation, so it's negative 6125, negative 0.6125, which is a comparison number. So negative 0.915, which is what we got. Just double check that's right. Yeah, negative 0.915 is less than negative 0.6125. So it's beyond our threshold. The correlation is stronger than our threshold. Therefore, reject H0. Sufficient evidence to suggest that the correlation is negative. So part B now, to suggest a possible reason for this correlation. Well, the more people, when it's hotter, people spend more time on the beach than clothes shopping. So when weather is hot, people spend more time on the beach and less time clothes shopping. Okay, now part C. Then part D. State, given a reason, which variable would be the explanatory variable. Well, the explanatory variable is another name for the independent variable. So the independent variable here is temperature, because clothes sales depend on temperature. So state, given a reason, which variable would be the explanatory variable. T, because clothes sales depend on temperature. Clothes sales depend on temperature. And finally, part E, Tessa calculate the linear regression equation as W equals 10755, take 171t, give an interpretation of the gradient of this regression equation. So, as the temperature increases by 1 degree Celsius, sales decrease by £171. So as the temperature increases by 1, we take 171 off. So therefore the takings drop by £171. And that's question 2.